I wish that I could have knocked him out at the start. Jake has spirit. He has some heart. He tried his best, and I take my hat off to him because, number one, a lot of fighters haven't got in the ring with me, and Jake did. And secondly, even when he got knocked down, he kept on trying to get up.
I'm retiring from boxing. I'm getting hit in the fucking face every single day.
Anthony Joshua did not mock, dismiss, or downplay Jake Paul's shocking announcement. Instead, he responded with respect. After Jake Paul revealed that he was stepping away from boxing following a brutal knockout that left him with a broken jaw, Joshua was asked for his reaction, and the former heavyweight champion struck a surprisingly supportive tone. Rather than piling on criticism, AJ praised Jake's fighting spirit, acknowledging the courage it takes to step into the ring, especially for someone who did not come from a traditional boxing background. Joshua made it clear that while criticism is part of the sport, respect in boxing begins with the willingness to step up and take the risk. In his view, Jake Paul proved he had that heart.
100 miles an hour. There's two things I would have done. Tried to shut Jake down at 100 miles an hour, or I would have gone on the back foot. So Jake decided to move around the ring, and I decided to put the pressure on. What I could have done better is a lot of things. 100%. In the fight game, you've seen the amazing fighters that have graced us over the last 100 years, and the expectations that we put on ourselves are immense, but I tried my best. Jake done well while it lasted, but if you remember what I said in the interview with Cameron, is fighting's not just physical, it's psychological. And when you understand the psychological warfare, I did say to you is that, Jake, what's going to happen? I'm going to see a time when I'm going to take your soul, and you're either going to give up or you're going to get knocked out. And unless you have that instinct, you just will never be a good fighter. So I wish that I could have knocked him out at the start. But as we saw tonight, Jake has spirit.
Meanwhile, Eddie Hearn did not walk back his earlier prediction, but he adopted a more serious and reflective tone after the fight. Looking back on his comment that this bout could potentially end Jake Paul, Hearn said the outcome unfortunately supported his concerns. He explained that injuries like a broken jaw are not just painful, but mentally and physically challenging to recover from, particularly for a fighter still developing at a high level. Hearn noted that time away from sparring, fear of re-injury, and the loss of rhythm can permanently alter a boxer's path. While he acknowledged Jake's toughness and willingness to compete, Hearn emphasized that boxing is unforgiving, and moments like this often force fighters to seriously question whether the risk is worth continuing.
Because when this fight was first announced, you had said something to the effect of this would end Jake Paul's career. After what you saw tonight, do you think that Jake should continue to box, or what do you think the future holds for him?
Yeah, look, I really take my hat off. I mean, we have to see if it is a broken jaw. Those injuries are very difficult to come back from. But as AJ said, like that last shot would have knocked out a lot of heavyweights. And I know he went down heavy, but you know, he was conscious on the floor. And I thought his game plan, although obviously very negative early on, which it had to be, was smart at times. And there were times where he held his feet and let his hands go. You know, it was a very one-sided fight. It was always going to be a one-sided fight. But you can't give him anything but credit and respect. There's a lot of negative people out there. There's a lot of people who want to criticize people. They're not doing what Jake Paul's done. He just went in with Anthony Joshua and gave it his best shot. Took a lot of punishment and ended the fight eventually.
Game plan against Anthony Joshua was built around movement, speed, and avoiding Joshua's power for as long as possible. Before the fight, Paul openly stated that his strategy relied on agility and footwork, constantly circling the ring, maintaining distance, and forcing Joshua to chase him. The goal was to frustrate the former heavyweight champion and survive. All 8 rounds, Paul and his team made it clear that avoiding one clean shot was the priority, trusting his cardio and angles to carry him to the final bell. The plan itself was straightforward: keep moving, disrupt Joshua's rhythm, and make him miss rather than engaging directly with a heavier, more experienced puncher.
Saw the game plan from both guys from round 1. Jake was very mobile. I mean, he had the happy feet going. He was circling around the outside of the ring. He was not looking to engage in elongated combinations. He was not looking to stand in the center of the ring with AJ, and people are going to say Jake ran from AJ, and you're right. Because guess why? He absolutely had to. Again, we talked about this in the build-up to the fight. He had to be mobile. He had to be on his bike. So yes, you're justified in saying Jake ran from him because he had to. He had to. And anybody that convinced themselves that Jake was going to walk to the center of the ring, stand in the phone booth with AJ, and trade punches until someone laid flat, you were lying to yourself, or you convinced yourself of something you saw in the promo. This was always going to be the way the fight went. I wasn't surprised at all that this is the way that Jake started and pretty much fought the entire time. I was a bit surprised that AJ didn't assert himself earlier. Now, again, it is very hard to hurt someone that doesn't want to continue his fight. Round one, very much a feeling out process for AJ. Didn't really look like he did much, but Jake didn't either. There was one right hand that AJ landed in the first round that shook Jake up. That's the danger that was coming for Jake the entirety of the fight. The second and third rounds were pretty much the same, a bit of a mixed bag in terms of Jake tried to get on his jab more. He did land some jabs that snapped the head back of AJ and landed some right hands, but this was all calculated risk for AJ as well, because he knew as long as he turned that faucet on and let the water run and let it fill up the sink and never turned the faucet off, that eventually he would drown Jake, right? So every round it was pressure, front foot, front foot, front foot, and AJ strategically breaking down Jake's gas tank. I will say I'm pretty let down by the fact that AJ didn't cut the ring. I was shocked that he didn't go to the body more. I was shocked that he didn't set up his punches more, didn't get his head off the center line more. It was not a great performance from AJ, but at the same time, AJ had just come off a loss. AJ had just come off surgery. I'm not making excuses.
Asterisk asterisk for interview asterisk asterisk Padarian shared an emotional response to the fight, describing herself as heartbroken, yet proud following Jake Paul's brutal knockout loss to Anthony Joshua. She emphasized that people are now beginning to respect Paul for the effort and courage he showed inside the ring. According to Nikisa, Jake delivered his best performance under extreme pressure, standing across from one of the most elite heavyweights in boxing history. Her reaction captured a blend of sadness and admiration, reflecting the feelings of many fans who were disappointed by the loss, but still recognized Paul's bravery and commitment to the challenge.
It was a moral victory because he expected to win. I do think he showed who he is as a fighter. I think he deployed the strategy that he was very clear about going into, that he was going to look to make AJ miss, and AJ missed a number of times. And ultimately, I think the weight of AJ caught up to Jake Paul. If you look at the first 3 rounds, AJ wasn't really able to touch him. But when AJ was in a clinch with him a couple of times, pushed down on the back of his neck, pushed down on the back of his head, got him to the ground. There was a few times where Jake looked like he was going for a takedown. Again, that was Jake trying to engage in the clinch, and AJ smartly moved back. In one instance, I think it was the 5th round, Jake engaged for a clinch, AJ moved back and started punching down on Jake's back. So all of those things kind of deteriorated or emptied Jake's gas tank a lot earlier than I think he expected it to. But overall, I thought he deployed his game plan well for the first 5 rounds and actually had some success. He even moved AJ back a few times, 1 by just jabbing in the air, and 2, when he caught him, he moved AJ back. AJ came right back in and swung.
Despite the decisive result, many respected voices in combat sports chose to focus on Paul's determination, rather than only the defeat. MMA legend Anderson Silva was among those offering praise, highlighting the courage required to step into the ring with a former heavyweight champion. Like Anthony Joshua, Silva stressed that regardless of the outcome, Jake showed growth, discipline, and a willingness to face extreme adversity head-on. Fighters and analysts alike pointed out that Paul's ability to follow his strategy, absorb punishment, and continue competing under pressure revealed a fighter's heart that cannot be measured by wins and losses alone. Silva emphasized that qualities like bravery, resilience, and improvement earned genuine respect in both boxing and MMA. Even in defeat, Paul's performance showed a mindset willing to learn, adapt, and challenge elite competition.
I'm just happy he's safe. I've always been proud of him. I speak constantly from the rooftops to mountaintops, from my car when I'm moving in the street. Respect Jake Paul. That was the #1 trending thing on Twitter about an hour ago. Respect to Jake Paul. So I'm just thrilled.
With how it went tonight, obviously you guys came in here and you actually did, like, believe it or not, what people will say. People believed that Jake Paul could do something crazy tonight. Did you truly believe from the beginning that he might pull it off?
So he 100% believed unequivocally that he was going to win. And I talked about that with him, afterwards when he was getting showered up. He knew it was high risk, high reward. He had to land something big, but he felt like he could. My view was it was going to be very hard, but it could happen, right? And there was moments in that fight where I was like, holy shit, this kid's getting him a little bit. So, when I spoke about no matter what happens, he won.